Hi, Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times on Thursday, November the 9th. Let's start with national news. The U.S. Senate today is going to reveal details about its own tax bill. It's going to be different from that in the House. One detail, a significant one, came out this morning. It said that the Senate wants to delay the cut in the corporate tax rate by 1 year. That's a change from 35 to 20% on the top end. They would do this so that the deficit inducing part of the bill won't be quite so bad the first year. That would save some money and make the deficit impact not quite so bad. Donald Trump has wanted to deliver this corporate tax cut on the front end, but he's said to maybe be willing to go along with the Senate on this. More details yet to come. Bombshell story in the Washington Post today. Roy Moore, the defrocked judge from Alabama, who's their U.S. Senate candidate in the Republican Party, has been revealed, according to the Post story, to have had sexual contact with a 14-year-old some years ago, and inappropriate contact with several other teenagers. All of them talk for the record. He denies this. Some people, even Republicans, say perhaps he should get out of the race. Does this make him unelectable in Alabama? Hard to say. He's gotten away with a lot there before. There was expected drama, and then nothing happened at a meeting of the University of Arkansas Board of Trustees this morning in North Little Rock. They had an executive session of more than 3 hours. They didn't say before or after what it was about, but Jeff Long, the athletic director at the University of Arkansas, made a rare appearance at the board and sat outside of the room where the private meeting was held while Chancellor Joseph Steinmetz went in. It's thought by several sources who've talked to me that there's a great deal of dissatisfaction with Long's leadership on the members of the Board of Trustees. There was thought perhaps that they had the votes to force a change in that leadership at a board meeting this morning, but no action was announced after the meeting and nobody would talk about what was said. It's possible that there still may be a transition plan that emerges later, even though there was no action today. We just don't know. But in any event, Jeff Long is still athletic director, and Brett Bielema, for better or worse, is still the football coach. On one other football and other sports note, at the University of Arkansas, they sent out a news release late yesterday, perhaps coincidental, saying that the athletes at the University of Arkansas, had set a record for their graduation rate on the annual NCAA rating, and they were really proud of it. What they didn't mention in the report was that Arkansas finished dead last in graduation rate in the SEC. But anyway, they are improving, so there is that. The Arkansas Supreme Court today upheld a lower court ruling by Wendell Griffin and said that the state had not gone through the proper procedure to change the way it decided who got and how much they got in terms of home health care for disabled people and elderly people who are using home health care to avoid going into institutions like nursing homes. The state changed from a system where a nurse had discretion to decide how many hours of help you could get and went to a computer program. This caused a terrible impact on a lot of people. The Supreme Court said that they were likely to prevail on the merits in this lawsuit, that the state hadn't given sufficient notice of the change and allowed public comment. The state may yet try to do it, but they're going to have to go through the system again, it looks like. Remember the Election Integrity Commission? This is a national commission of Donald Trump's that's meant to try and make a case for voter fraud. It's run by a Kansas Secretary of State for a while. It had an Arkansas member, David Dunn, a former legislator who died unexpectedly. Well, bad news keeps coming about this commission. For one thing, a member of the commission has sued the commission, says they're keeping him out of meetings and they're not following the transparency law. And today, Gizmodo report that a hacker said while you could hack easily into all the personal data this commission maintains in its vast database. Make you feel better about the integrity of the Election Integrity Commission? Not so much. The State Board of Education is meeting all day today. They got a report on the status of the Little Rock School District under state control. It's making some progress, but a grassroots group that wants Democratic control return to the school district issued a blistering statement saying the state hasn't achieved much. It's time to let local people run the school district again. And finally, late yesterday after we recorded this, they finally announced news of a deal that's been in the works for well more than a year, and that is the sale of the Donna Key Building, the city's first skyscraper at 7th and Main, 14 stories, built early in the 20th century, sold for $5.7 million to Virginia Investment Group. This is a group apparently that is one of these investment organizations put together in which foreign investors put money in and they get a permanent green card in return for an investment in a project that will produce jobs. This could produce 150 new apartments in downtown Little Rock, which is really starting to take shape. That old phrase comes to mind, Little Rock downtown is really getting uptown. How about that? Well, there's still plenty to resist in America. Can Democratic candidates win in Arkansas? There's a lot of talk here about a lot of candidates coming out of the woodworks, even in some solidly Republican districts. Maybe even an interesting name or two in the pot for governor against Asa Hutchinson. How about a name like Pryor? I'll leave that with you. I'm resisting. I'm Max Brantley. I'll be back tomorrow.